everyone, and welcome back to the Dwarven Tavern. I am your host, Dr. Jeff Goins, and today we, as in me, I am going to be reviewing the new Starfinder accessory called a Deck of Many Worlds, and it's not a deck of magical cards that summon a mirror image of you to fight you or consigns your soul to hell to be found by others. This is actually a world generator deck of cards, and it's 100 cards. Goes for $19.99. Suggested manufacturer suggested retail price, and I've been looking at it, and it's all inclusive for the most part. There is one little issue that I'm going to bring up later that could or could not be cool. Just depends on your perspective. But all of the instructions are included. It's really super simple. So simple, as a matter of fact, I'm gonna walk you through how it goes. So you've got the fronts of the card here, like this gas giant, and then you've got the back of the card here that's got a bunch of other stuff on it, and I'll explain all that in a second. I learned how to do this in probably about the first 2 or 3 minutes of having the deck, because the instructions are easy to understand, or well written, so kudos for that. And then it's really easy and really straightforward, so I was pretty happy with that. Very few things are more irritating than getting a thing and having a set of instructions that just go on and on and on, or ambiguous and kind of nebulous, and you don't really understand what it means, and blah blah blah. However, with this, and I'm gonna hold this up here. So this is the world card. It has a description. It's easily numbered and delineated. Right. The number 1 is the art. Number 2 is the physical traits. Number 3 is the attribute bar, and it goes on to explain what all of those are. And then on this one, it's the back of the world card, and it has its sapient species, and the card number, of course, and the threat, which is another species of alien that it proliferates there on that planet. And it's got the attribute key, the star fields, and the hook. Pretty straightforward. And as we can see, I'm gonna pop this gas giant off of here. It has a number of items for this gas giant, and I'm gonna try to pull it over here. Standard gravity. You can't really see it because it won't autofocus on it there. It's a gas giant, standard gravity. Now, standard gravity for a gas giant would be enormous. I mean, I believe the gravity on Saturn or Jupiter, one or the other, they're very similar. The gravity is so great, the pressure is so great in the near the surface, actually, that hydrogen is liquid at I believe it's like 40 degrees Fahrenheit or Celsius. 40 degrees Celsius, which that's crazy, because gases liquefy at higher pressures. That's why you can boil water at room temperature with very little pressure, because it's almost ready to gasify as it is, and you just add a little pressure and it goes boo. Anyway, so in this world you have standard gravity, normal atmosphere, airborne, radioactive, space, thermic biomes. So it has airborne biome, a radioactive biome, a space biome, and a thermic biome. Constant atmospheric reaction causes the gas giant to glow vividly from within. So that's pretty cool. Okay, and then on the back of the card, we'll take a look at the back of the card. This is card 42 out of 100. The Rikrichi from the Starfinder Alien Archive, and it tells you where each thing is from. Its references. The Rikrichi, is the sapient, which means that's the intelligent race there. And then the Ruthig from the Alien Archive 2 is the threat. And they look like llamas, so I don't know how much of a threat they are, although llamas can bite the piss out of you. And then the hook, as it says here on this part right here. It says periodically ravaged by major natural disasters or other catastrophes causing widespread destruction. So it could be a world in flux, I guess. Okay, so that's just an example of a gas giant of the many worlds, and they have terrestrial worlds, which are rocky. They have gas giants. They've got jungle world, asteroids, another gas giant, irregular. There is an actual torus-shaped world, so there's that. The irregular worlds are special. I mean, they could be a genius loci or something along those lines. So they've come up with quite a few different things. It's like 100 different starting places. Okay, so it says here on the box that it's infinite. Populate a galaxy with weird and wild worlds in just minutes with the Starfinder deck of many worlds. Using just a few cards chosen at random from this 100-card deck, you can generate millions of unique worlds, each with an illustration, an array of physical and cultural attributes, alien species, both friend and foe. So, you could find a friendly world. Not every world has to be, something that kills your red shirts right off the bat. And engaging plot hooks. So far, that's true. Use these cards to enrich your adventures in the Starfinder role-playing game, blah, blah. So, yeah. That is it. It goes for $20. But I'm not done. The point is, one of the gripes I think that I had, if you could actually call it a gripe, was the core world, the packed worlds. It was just one system, and I'm thinking to myself, well, this is pretty limited, isn't it? Because I like, one of my favorite games, one of my favorite sci-fi games is Traveler, and if you have any experience with Traveler, it's got thousands and thousands of worlds that are delineated with this wonderful little serial number. It's so cool. This Starfinder had that potential, but when I saw that it had but the one world, or the one system, I was disappointed. This fixes that completely. Because number one, if you have Traveler-like aspirations, not expirations, but if you have Traveler-like aspirations for this game, this puts it up there. This makes it a contender. Which for me to say that, that's saying a lot, because I love Traveler. So I'm watching for looters, by the way, yearning for a zombie apocalypse. So, how do you make a world? Well, we'll go through that. All of the directions are placed on, and I'm going to shuffle the cards here. All of the cards have all of the instructions, and it's like a little mini book for the game master. So it starts with this one. It says start here, and I'll go through it a little bit, somewhat. Welcome to the deck of many worlds. You can use this deck of 100 cards to quickly and easily create millions of possible worlds by following a short set of instructions. 100% true. So, and that's one of the things when anybody, not just not Paizo or whatever. Although I'm a huge fan of Paizo, I don't assume it's going to be good just because it's from Paizo. I don't like any company that rests on its laurels and puts out crap and says, well, we're the one that did it, so it must be good. And it's like, no. Welcome to the deck of many things, blah, blah, blah. I read that. After you make your first world, you likely won't need these instructions much, leaving you free to fill an entire galaxy with worlds of your own creation. Also true. On the opposite side of this card, you'll see how multiple worlds combine to create a single world, multiple cards, excuse me. As you proceed, this is an important point that I wanted to bring up. As you proceed, remember this is your galaxy, so you can always change any minor or major detail of the world you create as you see fit. One of the coolest things about the things that come out of Paizo is the fact that they are more of a set of guidelines than actual laws. All of their stuff is like, well, if you want to change any of these rules, feel free. I mean, they're very emphatic on that. Okay. So this is a picture of a sample world on the card. Okay, it says this is your randomly generated world. This is what your randomly generated worlds will look like, though most of yours will likely have more alien species. Keep this card handy as you learn how to create your own world. I think I shall. Okay, so I'm going to put both of these cards right here so you can we can see, this is for reference to show us what the instructions actually mean. Okay, so creating a world, which is this card, and it says shuffle the world cards, which I did, as we know, and cut the deck, place a new card on top of the table, front side up. This is the front, which means the actual world is going to be on it. Okay, so our first card is a desert card. That is what we have drawn. And it has on it a number of attributes: religion, law, chaos, good, evil, magic, accord, and tech. Each of those means something different, which are mostly self-explanatory. Religion, whether or not it's like a Theocracy of the Pale. What game is that from? So the law and chaos is, it's straightforward. Good and evil, straightforward. Magic is the amount or the presence of. The accord is that tells what kind of political state, not the type of politics, but how much unrest is on that planet. Are they warlike? Are they peaceful? Is it a peaceful world? How do the indigenous life, how does it get along with each other, especially the sapient life? Because, sapient life is, no, I can't really say that. Sapient life is not necessarily more warlike than just indigenous lower life forms, because, ants wage war, and so do humans. So, and everything in between. That tells you how we got going here with violence and the accord. And then of course the tech is more like a tech level, whether or not it's a techie place or a primitive place. Okay, so draw the next card, which is this guy. This is an irregular world card. Backside up, which is this side, number 86. Place it below the first so that the attribute key, which is this guy, this bar right here, that's the attribute key, lines up with the attribute bar, okay, on the first card. So that would be like this. Now this instantly tells us a little bit about this world. Okay, religion, not much. It is neither lawful nor chaotic. Okay, because of the dash, it's either an up or a down. It's either an up. I can't do that. It's an up or a down. It's an up or a down. Okay, so you've got it is an evil place. It's an ugly place. It's a bug planet. It has no magic to speak of. It is relatively peaceful, which is odd, and it is of a higher tech. Okay, so automatically you've got this peaceful, techie world that has no religion or lower religion, not necessarily no religion, lower religion, but is evil. So this might be a world that where evil has won, where evil has prevailed and is peaceful because there's no one to fight it. And it says the flavor text, the hook, says marked by an economy based primarily on barter, where everything is for trade. Okay, so evil has won. It has bought everything out, and it's just a desert world that's ruled by the Harkonnens, I guess. If you get that reference. Okay, so already, to me, this has already painted a very cool picture. Okay, draw the next card and place it below the second, backside up, so that only the hook and the star fields are showing. So that gives us something like this. Okay, so again, pretty easy to understand instructions. I just wanted to read it and make sure I was doing it right. The hook, these two hooks are powerful storytelling tools especially when used in tandem within the world's other elements. See the hooks card for tips on making good use of these. So the second one has a hook marked by a post-scarcity economy, as any and all required resources regularly and inexplicably appear. Now, isn't that interesting of a desert world, right? The planet's been used up, and natural resources, as it says here, regularly and inexplicably appear, like as if maybe it's a hollow world where things are coming up, or there's an alien race that's mysteriously benefiting the planet with regular care packages. Okay, so the next step, which would make it the fourth step, excuse me, can't count today. And I'll explain these Starfield things later. Populate your world with aliens. Use the number of bright stars. That's what these Starfields are. Number of bright stars in the left Starfield to draw that number of cards, placing them underneath the world so that only the leftmost alien, the sapient of each card, and as we saw here, the sapient is on the left-hand side. So, and as you know, sapient means intelligent. And had you been sapient, you would have known that. There are 6 in the left-hand side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have a list of 6 sapient species that inhabit this world, and probably they're not fighting because it's a very high accord, right? So we've got the Ilthasarian, the Farron, the Shimreen, the Izalgun, the Drow, or Drow, depending on if you're wrong or not, and the Raxolite. I pronounce it Drow. Deal with it or not, I don't care. You pronounce it however you want. And I've always been a huge proponent of this. It's your game. So if you want to call them Drow, just don't bitch at me for calling them. If you want to call them Drow, by all means, do so. I don't. Lay off. So, now here is the only kind of issue that I have with the game. The Raxolite, the Izalgun, the Shimreen are all from the Alien Archive 3. The Drow are from the Alien Archive, and the Farron is from the Adventure Path number 2, and the Ilthasarian is from Adventure Path 5. Meaning that if you want to use these, you have to get all of those. You have to have all of those. There's a couple of, really easy workarounds with that. You can buy all of them, which is probably a cool thing. But if you don't have the money, it's understandable. You can get them. I'm not really certain if there's a system reference document that has these guys in it. I'll have to check on that. I'm not really sure. If there is an online SRD where you can have these guys without having to buy the stuff. Paizo's pretty cool, but I don't know. And, of course, good business says you want to give people stuff where they have to get more, which is, it's good business because, you give away everything, you don't make any money. And your company goes out of business and we lose all that good stuff. Or, another workaround is you just don't include those guys if you don't have the material. Plain and simple. There's a bunch of different cards with a bunch of different creatures, so feel free to take those creatures out or put them or leave them in, and that's all there is to it, really. I don't hold it against them. I think it's like a down a half an axe for including making it something that you have to buy more for, because I never liked that, but I understand why they did it, and it's okay. Then this tells you, it tells you how many sapient species are living on this world, and then there's an instruction card Let me read it. The alien on the left side of the back of each world card is a sapient species, meaning they can think and reason. They are likely to have developed civilizations and interact meaningfully with other sapient creatures, or perhaps sapient, although I think it's sapient. In Hooks, sapient refers to this species, while sapience refers to sapients generally. As a bonus, the players of Starfinder RPG can choose any of these sapient species when creating a character. Okay, so any of those can become a player character, which that's a huge thing. Okay, and I will get into the rest of these cards momentarily. The other step is do the same thing for threats using the number on the right star field, which is these guys. That would be four threats. Okay, so we'll do the same thing with the threats. I'm going to put those guys right there, and I'm going to slide this under. Some of those threats are definitely a threat. The Migo or Migo, depending on how much you are into the Cthulhu thing. The key fact, the Migo or Migo, I'm not really sure how that's pronounced. Migo, I'll say Migo. Emotivore, and the Kamanide. Alien Archive 2 is the key fact, the Migo, and the Emotivore. Okay, so that's one good document reference. And then the Kamanide is from Starfinder Adventure Path number 9. Okay, so not too bad. And with that, the world, I believe, is complete. The other thing you can do is you can decide if this world has any moons, and create said moons with the same process here, right? So you do so randomly by drawing a card and looking in the left star field. So I drew this card, which has 4 in the left star field, right? So that means that this world has 4 moons that are also inhabited, and so forth and so on. So what does this mean? It means that this is it's a completed world with all these things laid out. Now you can take a picture of it and keep it forever. You can put it in a catalog of worlds that have been explored or whatever, and just keep going. And every time you draw a number of cards, it has a potential. It has a very high potential of being a unique world, whether it's the hooks or the attributes, the religion, and so forth. So that brings us to these guys, which are also included. I talked about the aliens, the threats. On the back of that card is the hooks. Each world you build will have 2 hooks, though you can use just one or add more if you want. These will help you create dynamic worlds worth exploring. Hooks sometimes refer to elements explained elsewhere, such as the sapients and threats. Terms such as periodically provide flexibility. And of course, you're free to change any of these as you wish. The post-scarcity economy, where it says regularly and inexplicably appear. That's enormous. That's an enormous hook. And, that jogs the imagination. And it's really a cool tool, which is what this is. It's a tool. Then you've got the creating a system, which says for each, let's see, many science fiction stories take place on one or more solar systems full of diverse interconnected planets, such as the primary setting, the Pact Worlds, right? To create your own such system, first draw a random world card, add up the number of stars from both star fields on the back of the card, and find out how many worlds are in this system. So if I wanted to, I could grab a card here, go bam, and it's an 8-planet system, each with its own moons and so forth. So bam. I mean, it's legitimately bam. It has a note here: if you want to create a more coherent system, you can decide that one or more alien species are present on multiple worlds via interplanetary expansion. So, for instance, we could have it as a Isolgunian system, which is these guys right there, that they have colonized most of the system and deal with them as you see fit. Maybe they're evil. Maybe they deserve to be thrashed and destroyed and thrown down from their high and lofty positions in this system. Or you just go somewhere else. Okay, so on the back of the creating a system is the creating a settlement, which is also important. A settlement is anywhere sapient creatures gather to live, from mountain village to an undersea trench city to a bustling metropolis. And polis is a suffix that is Greek, and it means city, or it means settlement, basically, like Indianapolis, polis, and so forth. Anytime you see polis is from the Greek. It's like Aviv, I believe, or Tel. It's Tel in the Israel. In Israel, you've got Tel Aviv, and that's the only one I can think of, but. It is a prefix saying this is a settlement, and many cultures have that prefix or suffix, like burg or vil, because vil is from villain, and villain is from commoner, and commoners form settlements. So when you have a vil, you've got a collection of commoners. History lesson is done. Sorry. So, to create a settlement on a world you've generated, draw a new card at random. Compare the settlement's chord attribute to the world's hooks. High accord means the settlement is especially affected by or connected to the first hook, whether positively or negatively. Low accord means the same thing, but for the second hook. Neutral means the settlement is either ambivalent or internally divided. So let's take the Isolgun here, and their accord is low, so you can see that right there. The Isolgun, who has a settlement on all these worlds, all the worlds in this system, their accord is low, meaning what I just said. It means the same thing, but for the second hook. So they are very interested in the resources that regularly and inexplicably appear, which makes perfect sense. They're trying to find out why. And it says page 405 of the core rulebook provides further guidance on fleshing out settlements. So there is that, which to me is incredibly cool. I love rule systems that are helpful, actually helpful. Then we have the religion, where it says religion up, which is not the case in this world. Widespread deities is a likely widespread and integral part of residents' daily life. Religious institutions wield great political power. Then the dash, meaning neutral, means they're moderate amount of influence, often the specific societal niches. Then the thumbs down is, while worshippers of various deities likely exist, organized religion has little noticeable influence on this world. Worship of one or more or even all deities may be unusual or even outlawed. So this is like, okay, the high religion would be like the United States, because the religion has a very high influence. Christianity has very traditionally been a high influence, religion on this world, in this country. Whereas in countries like Russia and China, so religion exists, but it's just not a thing that's there. So on the back you've got accord. On the back of the religion card you've got the accord, and the accord is the thumbs up on the accord, which is what this world is. Thumbs up on the accord. The world is likely internally peaceful with an organized single or shared government, though this might be thanks to utopian or republican or even oppressive tyrant. And since this world is evil, it would be an oppressive tyrant, and probably one of these Isolgun dickheads. So yeah, they rule the rest with an iron fist, and all forms of rebellion are squelched, probably very violently and very finally, which gives it an outward appearance of peace. Okay, the dash, the neutrality, several divisions, ethnographic, geopolitical, ideological, territorial, or so on, depending on the form of government, exists among the world's inhabitants with varying levels of cooperation and discord among the factions. So that would be in the case of, I don't know, it could be the United States, huh? Where it's a kind of a melting pot of stuff that sometimes gets along and sometimes don't. Then the thumbs down accord. Societies on this world are discordant, disorganized, or both. Sapient species, nations, or smaller factions might be locked in a political, possibly even violent, struggle for supremacy. The Middle East comes into mind immediately to give it an analogy to this, make it analogous. It's always good to have an analogy. So then you've got the tech card, which the thumbs up on tech, which is what is in this case. The world likely to have access to starships, capable drift travel, which can reach destinations at FTL speeds, faster than light, as a compatible equivalent to the Universal Polymer Base, which is in the core rulebook, page 233, and a multifunctional modular technology that can be used to create virtually any item, as well as globally accessible infosphere, which, 3D printers and internet, high tech, right? Then the dash is the world may or may not have access to starships capable of interplanetary travel, likely equipment, materials, and technology equivalent to a modern day Earth. So the dash is right in where we are now with internet and 3D printers. Only they can't print anything. And the widespread access to said things are not as great as in the thumbs up worlds. Let's see. Okay, so the world's technology on the thumbs down is rudimentary, like limited to simple machines, stone, or metal tools, and generally unrefined materials made from natural resources. So you've got low tech, basically. And again, this is your world, so if you don't want to just go with a run of the mill, what this says, you can decide what it means. How low tech is it? Is it Stone Age? Copper Age, Bronze, Renaissance. There you have it. Okay, magic is the same. The magic card, it's thumbs up, and this is a neutral. Thumbs up, extremely powerful mystics, technomancers, or witch warpers might rule this world, but they might simply be very common. Species might commonly have innate magical abilities, making lower level magic very common. The world might have access to magical portals or starships or even mystical means of faster than light space travel. The neutral world, which this one is neutral right there. The world is no stranger to magic, but it does not play a huge role in everyday life. Lack of magical ability might be common, but it also might take a significant display of magic to draw any attention. Then the thumbs down, the downward end of the spectrum, magic might be extremely uncommon, outlawed, or met with great suspicion, or it might not function at all in this world. So you got your extremes and the not extreme. Then it has alignment, which we all should be pretty familiar with that. Neutral, everything from lawful neutral to chaotic good. I mean, it's got all the alignments. And the description thereof, like neutral good is working toward a greater good and helping others without enforcing strict ideologies, or ideologies, if you will. Then it has the rules of creating a player character and a non-player character, thusly. And altogether, this one cohesive volume of cards and instructions, to me, is a fantastic five acts system. All of the instructions are very straightforward, very easy to understand. That's very important to me, being a teacher. Nothing has irritated me. Very few things, I'm not going to say nothing, very few things have irritated me more than a test that is poorly written, where the questions are ambiguous and ethereal or nebulous in their meaning. It's irritating, and it makes me want to do bad things, like fail the test. But you can take this, and now see, once this is done, and I want to create a new world, I'll just go bam and bam, and then whoop-de-doodle, and then make 8 on this side and 5 on this side, and I've got another world. And so it's not even as complicated as rolling up a character, because it shouldn't be. I mean, rolling up a brand new world should be super easy and super quick, especially if your players come over and say, "Hey, we want a game, man." And I don't know what they've been smoking, but that's how they're talking. But they come over and they say, "We want a game. We want to find this new world." And you're like, "Oh wait!" And then you grab the deck of many worlds, whip it out, and present them with a new challenge. And there you have it. So I mean, it's really quick. I cannot speak highly enough of this. It's another genius creation from Paizo, and I recommend it highly. It's $19.99, and it is called the Deck of Many Worlds, Starfinder Deck of Many Worlds. And you can find it where you can find it. Go to paizo.com/Starfinder, and there you have it. Tell them the Dwarven Tavern sent you, and they might let you buy a copy. So yeah, go get it. Especially if you want your worlds if you want your system to be more than just the pack worlds, and give them wider horizons in the inkiness, the blackness of space. So yeah, very good, very good. So, on behalf of the entire cast and crew, on that happy note, I am your host, Dr. Jeff Goins, wishing you to want for nothing but adventure. And at first I feared it, then I took out some looters, before which I charged. So, thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.